So finally, I sat down and watched the first two episodes of Starfleet Academy on Paramount Plus, and I'll be honest, I was surprised. Not because the internet Star Trek is dead apocalypse was true, but because I caught myself thinking, wait, this is actually watchable. Now, watchable doesn't mean great. It means I didn't hate my life, which in 2026 is already a win. So here's the setup. This isn't classic high rank officers solve weekly space problems Star Trek. This is rebuild era, post burn, the Academy is coming back, Starfleet is trying to stand up again, and instead of captains, we're mostly dealing with first year cadets. That can work because it's a good excuse for chaos, learning, and mistakes, but it also means the show has to earn the premise. You don't get to hide bad writing behind "they are young." The USS Athena fits the concept. It doesn't feel like a legendary flagship, it feels like a flying campus with staff attached. So, episode 1 is basically we're going to San Francisco to reopen the academy. And because this is Star Trek, you already know what's going to happen next. Something goes wrong, decisions have consequences, and the show tries to bring back classic Star Trek ingredients: trust, diplomacy, problem solving, and yes, the occasional phaser or torpedo. So far, so good. What I'm hoping for is simple: less every argument turns into a therapy hour, more professionalism. With the obvious disclaimer that cadets will screw up. Let them screw up, just don't turn it into constant emotional breakdowns like in Discovery. Also, yes, the show does fan service. Little bit of Voyager, little callbacks, even humpback whales. But not George and Gracie. It's not subtle, but it didn't bother me. A nice addition. Now, where the show starts losing me is when it introduces lore-heavy ideas like it expects you to just nod and move on. That's where my brain's called bullshit. First, the black and white split character. If you've seen TOS, you immediately think Kieran. And that wasn't just cool makeup. The episode was a blunt lecture on racism and hate, about a civilization destroying itself. Kieran is basically presented as wiped out, and the last two are still fighting because hate is literally all they have left. So when you introduce a female descendant tied to that visual language, I'm not even angry, I'm just asking how, and more importantly, why. If there's a strong explanation, great. I'm open to it, but without that, it risks cheapening the entire point of the original story. The second one is Laura Tok, the Klingon Jem'Hadar hybrid. Some credits though, in the German dub, the character has presence. Military, disciplined, believable, and it's fun to watch. But conceptually, that's an interesting DS9 pull. Jem'Hadar were engineered soldiers, dependent on Ketracel White, all male, indoctrinated to serve and die for the founders. Sure, you can write a post-Dominion future where things changed, especially with Odo's influence, but you can't drop Klingon Jem'Hadar hybrid into the world and not expect people to ask questions. So again, it's not bad, but please explain it somehow. Production-wise, the show has a few choices. The bridge ceiling during Red Alert looks like a giant cooktop. Are we sure the ship isn't powered by induction? And the lens flares, why are they still a thing? The lens flares keep reminding me I'm watching through a camera, not being part of it, and makes it difficult to connect. Coming to social media did obviously the social media thing. Caleb Mir gets corrected in class and suddenly it's DI, woke propaganda, attack on freedom. When I watched it, it didn't feel like a political lecture. It felt like basic respect, and that's it. Respect the classmates, respect teachers, respect the room you're in. Something people might want to learn. You can dislike the writing, sure, but the outrage, honestly, it felt preloaded. Episode 2 is where show starts tasting more like Star Trek to me. The Beta Z Federation tension leans into diplomacy and rebuilding trust instead of just shouting and exploding. It's about history, compromise, and consequences, and that's where Star Trek can still be great. One thing I'm currently questioning, however, is the Doctor. He's back, which I like, but the Doctor is uneasy around other holograms, and that angle could become interesting. Or it could become weird and inconsistent fast. Right now, I'm waiting to see which one it is. And yes, I get why some people bounce in the first 9 minutes. The opening jump back in time, the vibe, the visuals, it felt more like modern Star Wars than clean Star Trek. And the whole framing of the Federation taking children from their mothers just didn't sit right with me either. But after that opening, the show settles down a bit, and that's why I'm not angry, I'm cautiously interested. So in the end, I'm not sold, not furious, but I'm a little bit curious. If the writers can explain those lore swings, keep everything grounded, and avoid the later Discovery flood of tears, this might actually be worth watching. And once again, it's kind of wild how the future of Star Trek ends up resting on one series at a time. Like the franchise has a curse where every new show has to be the one that saves it, or the one that ruins it. Anyway, that's where I'm at. Let me know what you think.